Hello and welcome to episode 6 of 1861, the North Central College podcast. We are thrilled to have a student on the episode today, our second student in the ongoing series, a podcast about North Central College. Please join me in welcoming Lauren Benson. Hello, Lauren.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I know you have a busy schedule, so thank you for giving us your time today.
Yeah, of course.
And we were just talking before we started our recording today, but it's rather ironic. We are recording on a day designated as International Podcast Day. Isn't that exciting? Come on, that's a big deal.
I think it is too.
And so we will celebrate in grand fashion by recording an episode of the podcast. So, of course, the podcast, we do this, which gives us an opportunity to go a little bit more in depth with students, in your case, faculty, staff, alumni. It's a little bit deeper opportunity to get to know folks as part of the North Central College community. And so, Lauren, I always like to have people do that in their own words. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where'd you go to school? What year are you? Tell us about Lauren Benson.
All right. So I am a junior. I am a biology major here at North Central, and I grew up in Geneva, which is about 30 to 40 minutes away from here, so pretty convenient. I went to Geneva Community High School. All 4 years, I've always lived in Geneva, so that's where my home's at. But that's a little bit about me.
So, what are you majoring in? What are you studying at North Central?
So I'm biology currently. I came in as health science, but I switched, which I didn't expect myself to come in as a biology major. Honestly, I knew I wanted to come in as health. But once I found out that a lot of the classes aligned to what I wanted to do in the future, it just made sense for me to be a biology major.
So tell us what you want to do.
So I want to be an occupational therapist. So a lot of that is assisting with like daily living skills. So you could work in like a hospital, a clinic, or just it's a lot of patient care.
And what's the motivation behind that? Is there so often there's something that has happened in their life, maybe for you, maybe not, but what's the motivation to do that kind of work?
Yeah, so I actually work over the summers, and at high school I worked with a therapeutic recreation company, and every summer I'm the camp summer director for that. So
wonderful.
Through therapeutic recreation, it's very similar to occupational therapy. It's just a little bit, I don't know, I want to say more fun. You get to play a lot more games and sports and do a lot more like cooking and fun activities like that. So through that, I've kind of entered the field of, I guess, wanting to help people. My sister is a nurse, so she introduced me to the healthcare field in general. So I was able to combine those two things in occupational therapy while working in healthcare and still having fun and helping people with their daily living skills.
So you talked about making a change from health sciences to biology. What led to that change?
Yeah, so I've always been very interested in lab work. I really enjoy being hands-on in my learning, and I feel like that was the difference for me to become a biology major, because you're taking the organic chemistry, you're taking the molecular biology kind of courses. And I found that I would get the most out of my education if I was doing more hands-on work, which I felt that the biology major would do. And I knew it would be challenging. So I kind of pushed myself in that aspect to, I guess, get the most out of my education.
Yeah, that's great. There's a good lesson to be learned there, isn't there?
Yes.
So the experience that you're getting over the summers, what's the relationship between what you're doing during the school year and that work over the summer? Do you find that one helps the other? It helps your understanding of maybe what's in the classroom or what's happening in your interactions with folks?
Yeah, I feel like my job has like changed me to be a better person in like many different ways. So I feel like the biggest thing I tell people about is just learning patience. I feel like that's a learned skill that's very important in life, especially in the classroom and working with peers. Um, I feel like I've learned to be more empathetic through my job as well. I wouldn't say there's too much similarities in the topics that I'm doing
Right.
in like my science classes compared to what I'm doing over the summer, but I do like that difference too, being able to have more fun and do like all the fun summer activities and then come to class and really put all my focus into that. So,
Yeah, that's really helpful. Yeah, and you're really preparing yourself, right? The more hands-on experience you get, the more prepared you'll be after college. So, you're Lauren. I think you mentioned you're a junior right now at North Central. So, what's next after graduation? When you think about so you'll graduate in what, spring of 27, right?
yeah.
So what happens next on your career path?
So I'll go to grad school for occupational therapy.
Yes.
That actually, the applications will start this coming summer, so the summer of 2026. So I got to be ahead of it in that way. But once I graduate from North Central, I'm looking to go to an occupational therapy grad school, which North Central does have. So
Yes.
maybe I'll stay here for a couple more years.
Well, we would love to have you. That would be great. So you talked about um, you're thinking now about the application work that you have to do next summer. What are some of the things that you know you need to talk about and you need to think about on the application?
Yeah, so for most programs for OT school, they require 3 letters of recommendation. So I'm trying to think of the people that I want to ask to write my letters now so that I'm not asking them with 1 week in advance if they can write my letter kind of thing. So I'm looking at that. I'm also thinking about my personal statement, what I want to include in it, because I do want to make sure that it's like the most genuine like part of me, I guess, that I'm trying to give to the school. So I'm
Yes.
thinking about those things ahead of time. Also, shadowing hours, you have to write down when you apply. So I'm trying to get those opportunities checked off before the application cycle starts.
And does the work you're doing over the summer is that part of the shadowing time or no?
So it's not technically because I'm not like shadowing under a licensed occupational therapist. I think that it doesn't hurt, obviously, to have
Right.
the experience, but those are a little bit separate fields in that way.
So, at what point will you try to get some shadowing involved?
Yeah, so I try to do it over my breaks. So this summer, I did a lot of shadowing at the hospital. This winter break, I have a couple opportunities to shadow. So I just try to find time, obviously, with being in volleyball season, it makes that a little bit more difficult. But on the school breaks, I try to shadow.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. And part of the message I'm hearing here, Lauren, is it's a big commitment to even get yourself prepared to apply for the graduate school program.
Yeah, that was something I was glad I looked into freshman year because, well, I originally wanted to go to PA school, which
Okay.
I'll probably talk about a little bit later, but there
Sure.
that shift also prepared me because with PA school, there's obviously a lot of things you need to do to prepare for grad school applications. So I feel like my biggest like tip is just starting early on that kind of thing because it is a lot to manage.
It is. It is, and it's impressive to hear you talk about it. And you know, from my point of view, by the time you get to be a junior, these are things you have to really start thinking about. Isn't that right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, why did you come to North Central? I'm curious to hear your story. How did you choose North Central?
Yeah, so I'm a first gen student, so my parents didn't go to college, but my siblings both went to school, and my brother he started off at a bigger university and went to a couple different places, and he actually ended up at North Central. Funny enough, so that's how I heard about the school. And my sister, she went to probably a mid-sized school. I knew that going on like college visits with her that I wasn't really looking for. a big school. I just feel like that's not who I am. I really like the opportunities that North Central had. So I went on a visit here. I think I went on two visits, two college visits. This was my second, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely where I'm going to go. I just felt like it was just like an instant comfort and realization for me, which I know isn't very common, but I'm very happy with my decision.
How was the transition? I'm always curious to hear how students transition from being a high school student to being a college student. What was your transition like?
My transition was pretty good. I think that I learned a lot of time management skills in my high school years that really helped me in college, because obviously everything is up to you and your schedule, and you don't really have to go off of anyone else's. It's just managing your own time.
Yes.
So I feel like that was probably the biggest change, only having a couple classes a day, and having those breaks. It's like, how do you manage your 2 hours in between these two classes here and there? So I feel like that was the biggest change for me.
So now you're a junior. You've gotten more involved in classes in your major in biology. I'm curious to hear you talk about maybe some of the unique things you've done in your classes or some classes that have maybe left a particular mark on you.
Yeah, so I would definitely think of organic chemistry, because I just feel like I didn't realize the opportunities that we had here at North Central that some of my friends at bigger universities don't get. Like the hands on equipment that we get to use, like the spectra specifically. I was talking to my friend who's a biology major at a different school. I won't name names, but um,
Understood.
I was telling her just about our experience, our experiments and everything, and how once we run our experiment, then we go to like the research area that the professors have, and we kind of use their equipment, and we're running these all these different tests and everything, learning these different machines. And she's like, "Oh yeah, here like we don't do that. Once we run our sample, like our professor posts the data, and that's what we analyze and everything." And I guess it just shifted my perspective, because obviously, since this is the only school I've gone to, I thought that this was what every college student got to experience in organic chemistry, but it is very unique to the school, which I appreciate. And that goes with the biology classes too. The equipment that we're using there, like it's a really good experience and resume builder, and it gives you like that well-rounded science research experience, I guess.
Which will really be that'll give you a significant advantage when you go off to grad school.
Yeah, I think so too.
So tell me about the relationship with your faculty. I would imagine that you get to know faculty pretty well and they get to know you.
Yeah, I think that that's one of my favorite things about North Central. I tell people about that all the time. It's just all of my professors, they have open door policies. They have the office hours that they are required to be there for, but if they're on campus, they want to talk to you. And I think just using those opportunities to your full advantage, it's amazing, because if I'm not going in there talking to my professors about actual material, then we're just talking about grad school or summer, or just like they're very friendly, and they want to help you in your career and your path here at North Central.
I would imagine that you've got, there's a few people who would be happy to write letters of recommendation for you when it comes time to apply.
Well, yeah, that too. Just making those relationships, they get to know you, and I think that's a great letter of recommendation source.
Yeah. Uh, so we've talked about the classroom experience. We talked about your major. What else do you do on campus?
So I play volleyball here, which is another main reasons why I came to North Central.
Yep.
Um, and I am the president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, which is a great opportunity as well. Just working with all the different sports teams and building that community on campus. Um, I do a lot of work volunteering. So if I'm not planning a fundraiser or something for SAC, then I'm volunteering through Blue Key, which is another great organization on campus that I'm a part of. I'm also since I'm a first generation student, I'm a part of Cardinal First, and monthly we have the workshops that they basically just provide us with a bunch of resources on campus and outside of the community, which I think is it's great to be a part of. And I'm also a part. This is a little bit of a new thing, but I'm a part of a Bible study on campus with our Young Life program,
Wonderful.
which is really fun because it's with some of my teammates, and we just get to bond outside of practice too, which I really enjoy.
So I want to hear more about a couple of the organizations you mentioned. Well, let's talk about SAC first. SAC is the acronym that gets used on campus for Student Athlete Advisory Committee. Tell me more about that group.
Yeah, so basically every sports team has two representatives that are there to represent their team. So at the meetings, we plan initiatives, which is like majority of what we do. We host an award ceremony at the end of the year called the Chippies, which is for recognition. And we host a lot of different events throughout the year. Like we do a Special Olympics. We partner with Special Olympics for a field day. We'll do bowling with Special Olympics, fundraiser with Special Olympics. We are working on doing a food drive and Feed My Starving Children organization, partnering with them. I think that just making those relationships with the community is one of the main things that we focus on, while also like voting on different delegation things for Division 3. Last year, the women's wrestling team became a championship sport, which is something that we voted on, which I think is pretty cool that we get a voice in the
Yes.
regulations that are made.
Yeah, you made some other student athletes very happy on campus.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is. It is. What's Blue Key?
So Blue Key, it's mostly a volunteering organization. So they have like different events that they host throughout the year, but also any volunteering you do counts for your, I guess, Blue Key hours. It's another honor society. I think it's a great group to be with because everyone there also is like wanting to help other people, and I think you just meet some great peers that way too. Just volunteering at these things, even if you're not going with a friend, you're meeting someone new who's got the same motives as you.
Yeah, wonderful. You're pretty active. What's it like being a first generation student on campus?
Um, I think I think it's a lot of trial and error, I guess is
Mm.
how I would put it. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of things I had to figure out by myself, I guess, with the support of my parents, just because they didn't know because they hadn't gone through it before. I feel like the recruiting process was a little bit different for me because I just kind of had to figure it out myself. But I don't know. I think that my parents did a really good job instilling like the characteristics of being like a hardworking, dedicated worker. So I guess those skills really have helped me in college because I guess I've learned to be hardworking through what I've seen them do in their careers.
Yeah. Well, as somebody who knows you, I think that that's absolutely true. You should be proud of that. Has the Cardinal First program been helpful? Tell our audience a little bit about what Cardinal First is and how that has helped you.
Yeah, so Cardinal First, I feel like they're just always there. They're at all the events. It's about community, but it's also about resources. So I think they provided us with a lot of different organizations on campus and the resources that we can use as first gen students. They have like a home base that we're always welcome to be in. I just think it coming to school, I think, especially for someone who isn't from around the area, it's like a second family. Like if you ever see them on campus walking around any of the faculty, they're always wanting to talk and just they're always full of energy. I think it's just another great resource and organization to be a part of.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Sounds like you feel like you get good support from that group.
Definitely.
So you mentioned volleyball. What's life like as a student athlete playing volleyball? And I want to make sure that our audience understands you are not a student athlete who is getting scholarship money to play volleyball, right? That
Mhm.
you play at the Division 3 level, so you make a choice. You make a choice to compete. So Tell me about the decision to keep playing volleyball, and what is it like playing volleyball on a college campus?
Yeah, I think that it's been like a blessing. I think that playing volleyball, I've been able to, I guess it's my release, but it's also something that I can work hard on, and um, I guess I wouldn't have it any other way. I love my teammates. I love the sport. I've grown so much as a player and an athlete and a teammate being at North Central. So I think that since I was given this opportunity, I think you find a different crowd at Division 3. I think these people are they're they're competitive, they're hardworking, they're driven because we're not chasing that money. We're just chasing the love of the game. So I think that it's definitely different from Division 1, but personally, I think it's better. I think that there is some really good competition, and you're all just competing just to have fun and because you love the sport.
Yeah, and it shows, right? I think for anybody who watches a Division 3 competition, you can see the passion of the athletes who, in your case, are on the court.
Yeah.
And Lauren, being an athlete, you talked earlier about time management, but being an athlete adds some variables to time management. How do you balance that? And maybe give the folks who are listening a sense of what a day in your life might be like if you have competition in the conference and you have to take a bus trip. What's a day look like?
Yeah. So if we have a competition during the week, we could be gone for upwards of 8 to 9 hours. If it's a drive and we're getting there early, we're playing a 2 hour long match. I think that um, obviously with practice and everything, it takes up a big chunk of your day. So managing your time is super important because you don't want to be left staying up until midnight doing homework. I think that's not good for your body, and especially when you got practice the next day, you want to be refreshed and have had that good night's rest. I think that it is unique. Um, I guess when we're in season, you're obviously a student athlete, but it's a hard balance. I won't lie. Like it was freshman year, that was probably a another big change for me was just managing the volleyball schedule in general. It's a lot more than I've had to do with club, but I think that you get used to it. It definitely takes a couple weeks, but honestly, my biggest support through all that is just my teammates because they're going through the same thing as you. They motivate me. So if I see my my student or not my student, my peer
Yeah.
who's on my team, obviously doing their homework, I'm like, all right, well then I got to do it too. It motivates me. Um, but I think I really, yeah, it was definitely a learning curve. I won't lie, coming in freshman year.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of the experience, right? It's how you learn and grow. Um,
Yeah.
how has being a college athlete made you a better person?
I think that I have really learned the skills of being a good teammate because you're not just going to practice for 2 hours and seeing your teammates and going home. Like you're living with your teammates, you're eating dinner, you're eating breakfast, you're doing everything with them. So I think it's really important to, um, I guess, like build each other up. I think that I've learned, and when I'm talking to different like job applicant resources and everything, they always say that they love to take student athletes just because they've learned the perseverance and the teamwork skills. So I think that those two things have like shaped me as a person.
Yeah, very good. And I think that's true. I think we say that a lot in individuals who have to really manage and juggle their time the way that they do. So what's your goal? You're into your junior season of volleyball. What are your goals for the rest of this season, and what are your goals for your senior season?
Yeah, I think that um, this season I've been very impressed by just the level of hardworking like practice and competitions that we have. I think our coach Ray he talks about it a lot, but it really what we do in practice really does show in the games. We're very hardworking in practice, and I think that just as long as we keep that up and keep working on our consistency, I think we'll be a very big competitor for the CCIW conference. I think we keep throughout the years, keep breaking different records and keep inching our way up the totem pole. So I think that it's only up from here. So next year, I'm looking forward to playing a lot of these teams again, and I guess I'm looking forward to beating them.
That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Yeah, very good, very good. So, Lauren, when we talked a couple of days ago, I told you there's a couple of questions that we ask everybody who is on the podcast, and gave you a chance to think about it a little bit. So, first off, what is your first memory of North Central College?
Yeah, so I have a lot of first memories, but I think my most memorable memory was when we freshman year we moved to school early, obviously for volleyball season. So we were
Yeah,
here, and there wasn't many other people on campus, and we had a team bonding at one of our teammates' house down the street. And all of us freshmen, we all showed up, and we were so nervous to meet the team and everything.
yes.
And we got some food, and it was kind of awkward in the beginning, and then someone mentioned the idea of playing like hide and go seek around campus. And like, I'll never forget that night. Like, we had so much fun. Like, we were in different like pods, like, and we were just trying to, like, we were literally playing like a youthful children's game, but it was so much fun just to also get to know like the campus and get the
Yeah.
feel for that, but also just to know my teammates' personalities. That was a really fun activity.
Well, and some people on a college campus can be pretty big and intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that especially my freshman year, we had a lot of girls on the team, so it was intimidating meeting them, but it just felt like an instant family. Like the girls just they scooped us in, and it just felt like home for sure.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I asked you earlier about your transition to North Central. I'm curious, what has surprised you the most in your time as a student on campus?
Um I feel like the amount of change that happens, you don't think that, from graduating school at 18 to when you graduate around 22, that your life can change so much, but I think it has. And I think the more you're willing to accept that change and embrace it, the better person you will be. I think that could be a hard adjustment for some people, but I've kind of embraced it, coming in pre PA and switching my career path. That was a big change that I would have not expected for myself in high school. So I think that that was probably my biggest change, is just embracing the change, I guess.
Yeah, and there's a good lesson there. What advice would you give to students coming to North Central?
I think the advice I would give to a student coming to North Central is just do whatever you think you want to, like, do whatever you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Because, like, in the end, what you'll get out of college is what you put into it. And if you're not motivated in your major, I think it'll be a lot less fun and a lot harder. So I think that a lot of people do come in undecided, which is good if you're not just gonna if you're I don't want people to just pick a major just because that's what they're told. I think it really is up to the individual to choose what they want to pursue in college, and I think that you can't make the wrong decision. I think whatever you do, you'll learn something from it. So,
Well, and you're a good example of that, right? You made a choice to change your major once you got here,
mhm.
and you didn't feel bad about that, right?
No, not at all. I'm very grateful for wanting to do that and allowing myself to make that change.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. This has been a terrific conversation. I want to give you the microphone, so to speak, and this is a point where we allow our guests to give shout outs. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I when you asked me to make some shout outs, I was like, geez, I don't think I would have enough time because I would shout out all of my faculty. I think all of them have been so supportive in my career, and they've just always been like so willing to help me. I would shout out all my teammates because one, they motivate me, and two, they're some of my best friends that I know I'll have for the rest of my life. Lastly, I want to shout out my family and more specifically my sister, just because she did pave that way for me to join the healthcare field, and she's provided me with a lot of different insight and opportunities. And I don't think I would be the person I am right now if it wasn't for her. And she also forced me to start playing volleyball, so I guess I can thank her for that too.
We can all thank her. You give us great joy watching you play volleyball. That's wonderful. Other shout outs?
um, I guess I everyone. I don't know if I'm just very grateful for everyone in North Central. I think they've all helped me become who I am.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's just wonderful. Believe it or not, our time has come to an end. I told you it would go fast.
It did.
It goes fast, doesn't it? You are, Lauren, you are such a joy to talk to. And I really just loved hearing your story, hearing more about you. And I hope our listeners have as well. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And we look forward to watching your career continue to evolve as a student at North Central. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This is awesome.
This is 1861, the North Central College Podcast, episode 6, recorded on International Podcast Day, a day to celebrate. We thank our listeners, as always, for taking the time to hear more about the people who make North Central College the place that it is. Our guest today, Lauren Benson, a junior, majoring in biology, playing volleyball, super active, and just excited to have her on the show. So thanks to our listeners for listening. This is 1861, the North Central College Podcast.
Thank you.